Hello again. I'm CJ, the owner of Heartbreaker Press. I figured I should explain what the company is all about, who I am, and how we got here. It's not called Heartbreaker Press because I'm some sort of Casanova. I'm so far out of the dating scene that when I saw dating profiles demanding me be D&D free, I wondered why everyone seemed to hate RPGs so much. The term fantasy heartbreaker, near as I can tell, was coined by this guy Ron Edwards. It was a bit of an essay about D&D clones and to an extent how it was a bit like reinventing the wheel but a lot more recursive. The reason he called them heartbreakers is because people usually put their everything into it and then get heartbroken when it just doesn't pan out for them. I chose it as a way to try and stay humble, given that egos are how most RPG projects collapse online. Beyond trying to keep a level head, my philosophy for the company is this: make things that are worth playing and are balanced. Things that would have hooked your younger selves as children, or even better, as an adult. I first got into games like D&D back when I was in grade 5 or 6, when I started reading my older brother's Dragonlance novels, plus Spellfire by Ed Greenwood. Of course, I didn't realize these were tied to a game at the time, but I did eventually see the demo disc for Baldur's Gate for sale at Walmart, which is really when things got started. I played the hell out of the preview in Chapter 1, trying just about every single class, wishing I could play the full game. That didn't happen for over a decade later. I did end up stumbling on a D&D 3rd edition demo at the public library. While I don't remember the man that ran it, he definitely helped get a group of kids into it with some pre-gen characters. I played a half-elf that was a fighter-wizard multiclass and was basically the MVP in my opinion, though the DM was thankfully playing a bit loose with the rules given our age and enthusiasm. It definitely helped cement my love for the Mage Hand spell though. It wasn't for another year or two when I started grade 9 that I finally got to play D&D again. One of my classmates in my homeroom was browsing the official D&D website, and I asked him about it, and that led to some semi-regular games in his basement. Many an evening fueled by no-name cola, pizza, and my baked stoner friends made for some pretty good times. After that, I got involved with an online D&D group on our IRC called OrcNet. OrcNet is something of a freak of nature, as we've been around since 2003 or so, and we're still going strong, while most groups tend to die within 6 months or less. Let's see, I think my first bit of design work was for a spell in the first campaign that I played anyway, back in 2003 or so. I called it Durax Improved Disrupt Undead. I modeled it after Scorching Ray, and it wasn't really all that special, but it definitely did the trick, and it didn't overpower things, though things did go off the rail for other reasons. We were all pretty sketchy on the rules for 3rd edition back then, but we certainly did have a lot of fun. Later on, as with many people, I made yet another fighter class revision. I did get to do a little bit of playtesting with it in a Planescape campaign, and we did have a few fun things where high-level fighters could simply treat anything they held as a magical weapon. +3 leg? Hell yeah. +3 fork? You bet. +1 table and a +2 unconscious mook? Damn right you can. What led me to actually founding Heartbreaker Press was the forum called The Gaming Den. It was where I migrated after Wizards killed their forums of their Gleemax garbage, and it was filled with a number of talented RPG designers. Frank Trollman and Kay were the most notorious, having written their groundbreaking Tomes series on the D&D forums, and Frank having personally enraged Skip Williams enough to have him banned when he left the company as a parting bit of revenge. Anyway, at one point the forum decided they were going to make the next big thing, their hypothetical new edition of D&D, but eventually took on its own life. This was back around 4th edition when the GSL gutted the third-party publishing community, and it became fairly obvious to people on the forum the various flaws in 4th edition, so they decided they're going to make their own game. They called it TNE, or the New Edition. It was pretty interesting and had innovative concepts that came about, but in the end it ended up collapsing, in my view, due to a lack of central control over the project. There were too many competing egos, and there was no real way to delegate work as there was no real boss in charge of it all. There were several threads, also interesting, about how one would make D&D great again, with marketing plans and the like. Talk about making a LLC, or limited liability corporation, and breaking into the industry like a rocket. Naturally, nothing happened because who would be the boss? and nobody was willing to put skin in the game, and so nothing ended up happening. Around this time, I was working on a proposed revision to Chaosium's basic role-playing system, the percentile-based system that is also used in Call of Cthulhu. Anyway, I was paring down the massive word count bloat and revising the archaic rules to something a little more modern and streamlined. Things seemed to be going pretty well in my emails with my contact until Chaosium suddenly went radio silent on me. Obviously, I didn't care much for this, and as interesting as BRP and COC can be, the system is a bit like the coelacanth. It's ancient, weird, bloated, and for some reason keeps living. So given that rejection and watching how the Den's T&E project was devolving into nothing, I decided to make my own company with blackjack and hookers. So seeing the lack of anything from the Den, I registered a company called Heartbreaker Press and got to work. I paid the designer Virgil Clemens for the rights to his adventure Red Dawn for Pathfinder, where you have to beat an enemy to a temple in the sun itself in order to stop the release of a sealed away, nearly unkillable vampire demigod, thus plunging the world into bad times. It was novel, weird, and so naturally I had to have it. Actually getting Red Dawn ready for publication was quite the learning experience, having to trawl the net for people with the right style and talents. Given I had no background in the industry, this was quite a learning curve. Graphic designers, cover art, interior art, layout, typesetting, and a multitude of printer errors. Yet we did it and it turned out pretty well, and by all accounts people liked it. Progress since then has been a little slow, largely due to my health problems, but I'm on the mend and I have several projects in the wings, so stay tuned, subscribe. If you really want to help support our creation of entertaining RPG content, why not buy something from our official store or subscribe to our Patreon? Well, thanks for your time, everyone. Keep on rolling, and I'll see you later.